What if the impossible places you see in movies actually existed in the real world? A flame that burns endlessly beneath a waterfall. A lake as red as blood, hidden in the wilderness. Rivers of completely different colors flowing side by side without ever becoming one. And massive rocks balanced in positions that seem to challenge the laws of gravity itself. These are not illusions, not special effects, not the creations of human imagination. They are real places scattered across our planet, mysteries carved by nature that continue to confuse, inspire, and amaze those who witness them. Welcome to Impossible Places, a journey into the most extraordinary wonders on Earth, where reality becomes stranger than fiction. Eternal Flame Falls, USA. Behind the cold sheets of water pouring down the dark rock face, an orange flame still flickers in a small hollow, creating a scene where water surrounds fire but cannot keep it out. Eternal Flame Falls is in Chestnut Ridge Park in western New York State, where Shale Creek forms a waterfall about 30 feet high over layers of ancient shale. A rock hollow at the base of the falls shields the natural gas flow from most of the water and wind, allowing the flame a few inches high to keep burning, though people sometimes have to light it again. Geochemical analysis shows that the gas flow contains methane, ethane, and propane, which may rise through cracks from a shale layer about 1,300 feet below the ground. What causes debate is that the source rock seems colder and shallower than what is usually needed to produce such a steady amount of natural gas. For that reason, the real mystery of Eternal Flame Falls has still not been fully explained, as the gas source feeding the flame continues to rise quietly from the earth behind the curtain of water. Golden Rock, Myanmar. What keeps the gold-covered rock almost 25 feet high, right at the edge of the mountain where the support underneath looks too small to stop it from rolling down? Golden Rock, or Kayakyo Pagoda, is in Mon State at an elevation of about 3,600 feet, with a nearly 20 feet stupa standing on the granite boulder. Over many generations, pilgrims have placed gold leaf on its surface, turning the natural rock into a sacred Buddhist symbol of Myanmar. Legend says that a strand of the Buddha's hair inside the stupa keeps the rock balanced, while Kikyo means the pagoda on the head of the hermit. As pilgrims bow beneath the golden boulder, leaning out over open space, Golden Rock makes geology and faith seem to meet at the point of support beneath the stone. Dead Sea. At the lowest point on land, people can lie still and be lifted by the water in a sea where almost no fish live. The Dead Sea lies between Israel, the West Bank, and Jordan, with its surface about 1,430 feet below sea level in the Jordan Valley. With no outlet, the water is lost only through evaporation, leaving a salt concentration of over 30%, nearly 10 times that of the ocean, and creating unusual buoyancy. That salinity prevents most plants and animals from surviving, although some salt-tolerant microorganisms still live in an environment once thought to be completely dead. As the water level drops, underground fresh water dissolves salt layers beneath the shore and opens thousands of sinkholes that can appear suddenly between the receding salt-covered shores. The Dead Sea becomes a geological paradox. People float on the water, but the ground around them can collapse. Meeting of waters, Brazil. In the middle of the Amazon, a line divides the river's surface into two halves, black and brown, as if two streams have touched but stubbornly refuse to mix as one. Encontro das Aguas appears near Manaus, where the dark, tea-colored Rio Negro meets the muddy, sediment-rich Rio, so to form the main course of the Amazon River. For more than 4 miles, the two colors of water still flow side by side, creating a natural border clear enough for small boats to follow. The Rio Negro is warmer, flows more slowly, and carries less sediment, while the Solomos is faster and heavy with silt, making their density and speed different. That difference makes the mixing process happen slowly, so the scene that seems mysterious is actually a giant hydrodynamic experiment in the Amazon rainforest. When the boat crosses the dividing line, the color of the water beside the hull changes almost instantly, as if nature had just drawn a border right on the river's surface. Darvaza gas crater, Turkmenistan. In the middle of the dry Karakum Desert, the ground suddenly split open, revealing a blazing gate of fire that never goes out. The Darza gas crater is about 230 feet wide and nearly 100 feet deep, located in the gas fields of Turkmenistan, where methane escapes through the collapsed ground. The common story says a Soviet drilling rig broke into a gas pocket in 1971 and then set it on fire to keep the gas from spreading. But the records are still incomplete. People once believed the fuel would burn out after a few weeks, but underground cracks kept bringing gas upward and have kept the fire burning for more than half a century. As night falls, Darvaza still glows red across the sand, and the unanswered question is, what underground gas structure has fed the fire for so long? Mosquito Bay, Puerto Rico. With just one paddle touching down, the dark water of Mosquito Bay bursts into blue light, as if the starry sky had just sunk into the sea. Located on Vieques Island in Puerto Rico, this place was recognized by Guinness in 2006 as the brightest bioluminescent bay in the world, thanks to the high density of Pyridinium bahamense. During the day, the single-celled organisms are almost invisible, but when the water is stirred, a chemical reaction inside their bodies creates short blue flashes. The light does not shine continuously. It appears along each paddle, stroke, fish body, or hand moving through the water, then quickly disappears. Al Nasla Rock, Saudi Arabia. An almost perfectly straight split runs through the huge sandstone block, making Al Nasla look as if it had been cut in two by a blade beyond nature's ability. Al Nasla is about 26 feet tall, made of two nearly equal halves, each standing on a narrow, eroded stone base. The clean split has led to stories about ancient tools or lost technology, but no archaeological evidence supports them. The rock surface also carries the carvings about 3,000 years old, showing that people once saw this place as a landmark in the desert. Lençóis Maranhenses, Brazil. Every rainy season, thousands of blue lakes appear among the white sand dunes, making Lençóis Maranhenses look like a desert that the sea has just pierced through. This national park lies on the Atlantic coast of Maranhão State, covers about 580 square miles, and was recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site in 2024. Even though it has the shape of a desert, the area can receive nearly 79 inches of rain each year, most of it falling in the first half of the year. Rainwater seeps through the sand, causing the groundwater level to rise and filling the low areas between the dunes with seasonal freshwater lakes. Sea winds constantly push sand inland, forming dunes up to about 100 feet high, while the rainy season moisture temporarily slows their movement. When the dry season returns, many lakes shrink or disappear, leaving empty basins among the sand, like traces of a water world that has just receded. Lake Hillier, Australia. Between a stretch of white sand and green forest on an island off the coast of Western Australia, Lake Hillier appears like a candy-pink lake right beside the deep blue ocean, creating a scene that looks more like a color error than real geography. The lake is on Middle Island in the Resurresh Archipelago, is nearly 2,000 feet long, and is separated from the Southern Ocean only by a narrow strip of sand covered with low plants. What makes this place famous is that the pink color stays the same even when the water is taken out of the lake, showing that it is not just a reflection effect from the sky, the lake bed, or the light. Scientists believe that the very high salt level has created an environment where Dunella, saline algae, and salt-loving microorganisms produce red and orange pigments that turn the water this color. Even so, what still makes Lake Hillier so fascinating is that there is still no single explanation enough to fully explain why the pink color here is so stable and unusually intense compared with many other salt lakes. From above, the pink lake sits close to the edge of the blue sea, like two worlds touching, and this almost unreal contrast turns Lake Hillier into one of Australia's most recognizable, mysterious wonders. Glass Beach, USA. How could millions of pieces of glass, once thrown into the sea, become a smooth, rounded glass shore, sparkling under the waves of the Pacific Ocean? Glass Beach is in Fort Bragg, California, where people once dumped bottles, jars, and waste along the coast from 1906 to 1967. After the dump was closed, large materials were removed, while the glass continued to be carried and worn down by the waves over many decades. That process made the sharp edges disappear, turning broken, green, brown, and white bottles into cloudy pebbles with smooth surfaces. This beauty is not an untouched natural wonder, but a trace of pollution reshaped by the ocean into a rare landscape. Today, the amount of glass is decreasing because of erosion and collecting. So, each remaining piece both adds color to the beach and reminds visitors to leave it with the tides. Pitch Lake, Trinidad. The black ground at Pitch Lake cracks into separate plates, but the layer of asphalt underneath still moves slowly like a living liquid. The lake is in La Brea, in southwestern Trinidad, covers about 100 acres, and is the largest commercial natural asphalt deposit in the world. Petroleum is pushed up through faults. Then the lighter parts evaporate under the tropical sun, leaving behind a thick pumice mixture. Some areas are hard enough for people to walk across, but the surface still slowly stirs itself as soft material and gas keep escaping from below. When rainwater collects in the winding cracks, Pitch Lake appears both like a lake of fossilized oil and like an ecosystem quietly moving beneath people's feet. Underwater waterfall, Mauritius. South of Lemon, the sea suddenly shows a blue-white stream plunging into a dark abyss, making Mauritius look as if the ocean is pulling it under. The phenomenon lies off the Lemon Peninsula, where the shallow sea shelf is about 500 feet deep, and then suddenly drops into waters more than 13,000 feet deep. This is not a real waterfall, because what is sliding down the underwater slope is fine sand and mud carried off the sea shelf by ocean currents. The illusion is only clear from high above, when the slope of the seafloor, the flow of sediment, and the color contrast come together to form a complete waterfall edge. Taos Hum, USA. In the desert around Taos, some residents hear a hum like a diesel engine far away, even though the Puritan standing next to them hears nothing. The phenomenon has been well known since the early 1990s in northern New Mexico, and is often described as persistent and clearer at night. In 1993, a team from Los Alamos, Sandia, the United States Air Force, and the University of New Mexico monitored sound, seismic activity, and electromagnetic fields for 1 week. Among 8,000 residents, 161 people reported the hum, but the equipment did not record a matching acoustic signal when they said it was happening. Theories range from machinery to the auditory system, while a broader study in 2026 suggested that many cases of the hum may be low-frequency tinnitus. The mystery of Taos lies in this paradox. The sound is real to those who hear it, but it still leaves no certain trace outside them. Chennai Timpishka, Peru. Steam rolls up from the heart of the Peruvian forest, where the river flows at nearly 200 degrees F, hot enough to cause severe burns in just a few seconds. Called Shenetishka, the hot stretch of water runs for almost 4 miles, reaching 80 feet wide in places and nearly 20 feet deep in the Amazon. Indigenous people have long seen the river as a sacred place. While geologist André Rousseau began the scientific study of this phenomenon in 2011, what is astonishing is that the area is not next to an active volcano, so lava is not the direct heat source as many people once thought. The heat source has a reasonable explanation, but the exact path of the water underground has still not been fully identified beneath the white veil of steam. Mount Roraima. A stone fortress rises from the rainforest, its flat summit hidden by clouds and water plunging straight down sheer cliffs. Mount Roraima stands where Brazil, Venezuela, and Guyana meet with sandstone cliffs more than 1,300 feet high, surrounding an isolated plateau. The rock layers of the Roraima Formation formed about 1,700 million to 2 billion years ago, and then rain and erosion carved them into cracks and stone towers. Long isolation has created many endemic species, including insect-eating plants and a small black toad rarely found outside the Tapui of the Ghana region. When clouds spill over the edge of the plateau, waterfalls appear and then vanish, making Rory look like an ancient world cut off from the lowlands below. Son Doong Cave, Vietnam. A stream of white cloud drifts through the underground forest, making Son Doong seem like a world that creates its own weather. Located in Phong Nha Bang National Park, the cave is nearly 6 miles long, more than 500 feet wide, and over 650 feet high in its largest sections. Han found the cave entrance in 1990, but only in 2009 did the Vietnamese-British expeditions survey it and confirm a volume of about 1.36 billion cub-feet. The underground river dissolved limestone along a fault over 2 to 3 million years, opening the world's largest cave passage in terms of diameter and continuity. 2 collapsed ceiling sections bring light into the cave, feeding a primeval forest with trees more than 130 feet tall beneath the limestone mountains. Although the main section has been mapped, the river still disappears into a deep, flooded passage that has not been explored to the end, leaving a waterway whose destination no one knows. Toraja, that makes Iceland look as if it is raising a stone spear from the coast, solitary, sharp, and almost perfect in every curve. This mountain is about 500 feet high, located on the Snæfellsnes Peninsula near the town of Grundarfjörður. and stands out amid the cold waters of western Iceland. Its special shape comes from ancient layers of rock worn down by glaciers, wind, and time, leaving behind a lone mountain mass like a natural tower. When low clouds drift by, dark rock layers appear on the mountain side. Green meadows wrap around the foot of the mountain, and cold water flows through the silver-gray landscape. Standing before Kirkjufell, people are not overwhelmed by its height, but by the feeling that even a small mountain can rule the whole horizon. Leaving this place, what stays behind is not the size of the mountain, but the way its stillness makes people look back one more time before walking away. Monarch Butterfly Groves, California, turns into a shelter for thousands of monarch butterflies, covering tree branches like a sleeping orange and black cloud in the forest. These butterflies belong to the monarch population west of the Rockies, traveling hundreds to about 1,000 miles to reach warmer groves along the California coast, where ocean mist and tree cover help them survive the cold season. What is strange is that this journey does not belong to just one individual, because many generations of monarchs take turns flying, reproducing, and dying. Yet, the species still finds its way back to familiar wintering sites, like a secret map hidden in instinct. When the temperature is still low, they close their wings and cling silently to the branches, looking like dry leaves. But when the sun comes up, countless orange wings open at the same time and turn the quiet forest into a gently trembling, living cloud. That beauty is even more remarkable because the western monarch population has sharply declined due to habitat loss, pesticides, and climate change, making each cluster of butterflies on a tree not only a beautiful sight, but also a fragile sign of life. Monarch migration leaves behind the image of tiny butterfly wings still overcoming the cold wind, like a delicate miracle of North American nature. Niagara Falls, USA, Canada. With the moment when millions of gallons of water pour over the rock edge, turning the river into a roaring white wall between the United States and Canada. At Horseshoe Falls, the water curves into a horseshoe shape about 2,200 feet wide, then plunges from a height of about 188 feet and turns the base of the falls into a sea of white mist that keeps rising. The Niagara River carries water from Lake Erie to Lake Ontario, and this powerful drop is what has turned an ordinary river into one of the most famous natural sights in North America. From the tour boats at the foot of the falls, viewers see the wall of water rising right in front of them, while spray covers the deck and makes people feel small beneath the weight of the current. On the side of American Falls and Bridal Veil Falls, water pours over the rock edge in continuous white bands, then crashes onto the large rocks below, like an endless collision between water and stone. Niagara Falls leaves behind the image of mist rising high above the river, where the border between two countries almost disappears in the roar of the water.